Hi, and welcome to the Kismet podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Liebermont, and thank you so much for being here. I'd love to stay connected with you. If you have comments, questions, feel free to make a comment on YouTube, or if you want to connect with me on Instagram at inspire_authenticity. Yeah, this is a space where I am seeking to share about spirituality and things in a very authentic way. I really want to share about astrology in a way that has to do with gaining personal power. And what I've seen in astrology, what I've seen when I listen and connect with other astrologers is that we're often just constantly giving our power away to the planets and to the way that we speak about astrology very much has this feel of like the planets have power over us. And, I think that is part of the human struggle, is that we're trying to gain power, but we end up doing that in a way that doesn't actually empower us. So to me, what I'm seeking to do here with astrology is give you power. Talk about astrology in a way that will show you that it's about story, it's about myth, it's about symbolism, it's about archetypes, and it's about connecting to our own power by acknowledging and witnessing what's going on in the planets, because what's going on in the planets is symbolic of what is going on inside of us. That is why the saying is, as above, so below, as within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. And what that means is that we are reflecting one another. We're always reflecting what's happening. The universe is reflecting what's happening inside of us. The seasons are reflecting what's happening inside of us. So that's just something that I think is really important if we want to become empowered, which I believe is a huge part of our evolutionary journey. And I haven't read all of his work, but I consider myself an evolutionary astrologer because I can see how our journey here is about power. And that's what Pluto is about. Pluto is the planet that has to do with how we are connecting with power and our struggles with power and our what we give our power to. And so as humans, we're constantly giving our power away to forces outside of us. And that's why this is our journey. It's our evolutionary journey of learning how to get our power back. So that's why I always say that, don't give your power away to an astrologer. Don't give your power away to a psychic or an energy healer. And if you are engaging with any of those kinds of people, which do have gifts, and I'm all for that. But if you're engaging with them in a way that is giving your power away to them, then you're losing your power. So my mission here on this platform, in my life, in my work, is that we would become more sovereign, that we would learn how to engage with that power in a way that fulfills us, that makes us feel more alive. So in this podcast, I am going to talk about this in terms of astrology, because we are coming up on the full moon lunar eclipse that's happening at 25 degrees of Pisces. And this is a very big eclipse. We had eclipses in Pisces and Virgo back in 2016, 2017, and then before that, it was around 2006, 2007. So you might want to think back to those periods of times in your life, because when we're thinking about the nodal shifts and the eclipses, we're looking at bigger cycles. And so perhaps this is a time where you're completing something, or maybe something has dissolved out of your life in, these years. Now, if you know your chart, you will want to connect with where is 25 degrees of Pisces in your chart, and that can help you get a little bit more clear on how you're working with this cycle, how you're working with Pisces, how you are engaging with the eclipses, and what your soul is ready for, right? Part of what talking about astrology and eclipses is saying, what's your soul ready for right now? All of our souls are going through similar things and similar cycles, but everybody's in a little bit of a different journey and phase in their own evolution. So we're trying to use language and myth and words and concepts to help you engage with what's happening in your life. So I'm talking about this eclipse in terms of a couple different concepts that I think could be highlighted. The first one is, what's catching your eye? What's showing up for you? What is grabbing your attention right now? Pay attention to that. The second is cognitive dissonance. Are you engaging in cognitive dissonance? That is a form of illusion that everyone gets caught up in. So is that something that you are finding yourself lost in? And then thirdly, are you willing, are you open to experience miraculous healing? And these are vastly different themes of this eclipse, but I see them all in the archetypes that are showing up under the eclipse energy. So I'm going to share the screen so we can take a look at what is there. If I can figure out how to do this. Okay. There we go. Okay. So here we have, let me just get the annotation going. The moon over here and the sun over here. And of course, we have this opposition with the sun and the moon. And let's start annotation. Okay, there we go. So this is a partial lunar eclipse. This is a partial lunar eclipse because the nodes have not shifted fully into Pisces and Virgo yet. They're not going to shift fully into Pisces and Virgo until January of next year. So this eclipse is a foreshadowing of something that's going to be expanding and happening in our lives over the next 2.5 years once the nodes shift. But things are already shifting. They're already starting. And this is kind of how our lives work, right? We get the foreshadowing of things. We start to have the intuition. We start to have the feeling, and then things start happening. Shifts start coming into our lives. So eclipses can be, very unusual things. They can be something profound, something out of the ordinary that happens, right? Like an eclipse is an out of the ordinary event. And again, they're symbolizing what's happening in our lives. And they can be fated events and experiences. Eclipses can also be things that feel uncertain, right? We feel uncertain when we see the moon being eclipsed or the sun being eclipsed. And they can also lead to experiences of unexpected changes. So this is something just to keep in mind as we're coming up on these eclipses. Now, eclipses are not just the day of, they tend to unfold either right before or several months after the eclipse happens. And we'll get foreshadowing of them. Again, we're not always conscious of the foreshadowing, and sometimes we'll get that in hindsight. So, astrology and looking at the map of the eclipse kind of gives us a little bit of a benefit to support us in reminding and remembering ourselves, remembering about our power and how we are working with this energy, because the planets represent different parts of ourselves. We can see and engage with this information in a way that helps us to self-reflect. And that's kind of what my aim is in sharing this today, because astrology is not making something happen to us, right? It's symbolic of what is happening. So here we have the sun in Virgo and the moon in Pisces. And you'll see here we have Neptune that's very close to the moon, which is really important in this eclipse chart. But Saturn is also conjunct the moon. It's 10 degrees away, which I consider conjunct for the eclipse. And this is that flavor that I was talking about of what catches your eye. With the moon getting eclipsed, we're going to have Neptune and Saturn having the light of the sun shining on them. So these are two very different energies, but they're both in the sign of Pisces. So we want to see what's catching our eye with Neptune and with Saturn. What's showing up that's asking us to look at these different areas of our life, because these are two vastly different energies, but they're both within this Pisces archetype. So, with Neptune, Neptune's been in Pisces since 2011. We've been working with this inner need to kind of go into love and bliss and light, and also the illusions that come with that, right? Possibly getting caught up in the illusion of love, the illusion of something on the internet. This is very watching movies, getting lost in the romance of life, but not in a way that is authentic to us, maybe in a way that is being lost in it and not having our power. That's very Neptune. That's very losing ourselves. This could also be very much about addictions. Neptune always has a propensity towards our addictive tendencies, the way we want to escape things. On the other side, we have Saturn. Saturn's in Pisces, and Saturn is coming through and moving through Pisces, showing this revelation that we're getting of the areas that we had been disillusioned, possibly, maybe feeling like we're ready to clean up some addictive tendencies that we have, possibly that we're seeing the ways that we have given our power away, or that we've lost ourselves in the romance of something. And now we're getting to see, what's really under the surface. Saturn is also about taking ownership. And Saturn here could be like, wow, we suddenly get a revelation about the way we have become prey in our own illusions, the way we have given our power and our authority away. So you want to see, like, what's showing up for you? What catches your eye? What are you drawn to? Are you being drawn deeper into an illusion? Are you being drawn to see the illusion? This is an opportunity to notice what's catching your eye. Now, Saturn is in an opposition to Mercury, and Mercury's in Virgo. And this is an important aspect because this could kind of give us this clarity that we have been looking for. This is an ability to see something that we have given our power and authority away to. This could also be some kind of challenge. And this is where the second thing that I was talking about, which is cognitive dissonance, comes in. With this opposition with Mercury and Saturn, this could be where we don't want to see the truth about something. And that is what cognitive dissonance is. It's when we think we know something, we convince ourselves that we know something because we know it intellectually, but our actions and our behaviors show that we don't actually know it in our soul, that we're not living by that truth, that that's not the reality that we're operating out of. Cognitive dissonance is a big theme in our culture right now because of all of the information that we're getting, and we're not integrating. We're not taking action based on what we know. And so what happens is that we push away the truth of what we know because we're afraid to make changes in our lives. This is very important and a big theme that's coming up also in another aspect of this chart, which is Mars in Cancer square to the nodes of fate. Now, Mars is in Cancer, and a lot of people are saying a lot of things about that Mars is debilitated in Cancer, which is just so ridiculous because, again, we're making meaning of this. Mars is about our will and our drive and our action and even our body. And Cancer is about nurturing. It's about emotional awareness. So with Mars being in Cancer, this is about knowing what we need. This is a very powerful aspect. Mars is not debilitated here. Mars is becoming aware here of what doesn't feel good, especially because of the square aspect. The square aspect is going to be bringing up things that we are seeing. Actually, that really rubs me the wrong way. Actually, when I do this, I don't feel well in my body, right? This is understanding where we're not in alignment with something that we're doing, specifically in relationships, because the nodes are in Aries and Libra, and that is all about the self and other. And Mars is in Cancer, and that is, this energy of connecting with what's nurturing to us, what makes us feel good, what makes us feel like we're aligned within ourselves. Now, this connects with the cognitive dissonance, because when we are in cognitive dissonance, we're often getting symptoms of sickness. This could be headaches, this could be stomach aches, this could be some other disease in the body, this could be an infection, this could be a virus, many things. These are symptoms of our body telling us that we're not okay, that something's not in alignment, and we need to pay attention to it. The thing is that what we have done in our culture is we have said, let's just take a pill for it. Let's just try to get it better so we can keep doing the things that we're doing. But the symptoms come up for us to become aware of so that we can stop doing the thing that is harming us, that actually deep down we don't want to do, because we know it's not what we really want. So please check in with yourself. How are you deceiving yourself? Many of the aspects in this chart are speaking to the way that we're deceiving ourselves, which is cognitive dissonance, which is thinking we know, but really not knowing and not listening to ourselves. And I will be the first to tell you, it is sometimes incredibly difficult to listen to the things that we know, especially when the things that we might know have to do with the relationship dynamic, which is what this Mars aspect is showing us. It's showing that there's something about this that's saying, okay, you might have to make a decision that's going to impact how you relate to others. This might mean that you let somebody down. This might mean that you hurt somebody's feelings, right? We don't like doing this. This is exactly why we end up in cognitive dissonance, because we are afraid of the consequences of the decisions that our body is asking us to make. And I know that this is a big call, but it's extremely important, being honest with ourselves. This is Mars in Cancer, especially Mars in Cancer square the nodes. This is like, will you tell yourself the truth? Because you're the only one that can, right? You have to tell yourself the truth. You have to break the chains off of yourself. This might mean that you have to let go of a relationship. This might mean that you can't be doing the same things that you have done before, right? This might mean having to let go of a past version of yourself, maybe a past version of your life. Maybe this means letting go of a job. It could be a lot of different things. But pay attention to the ways that your body is speaking to you. If you're not feeling well, try to really sit with what doesn't feel good and what is that related to? Ask your body, what is that related to? Okay, now we also have an element in this eclipse that is very related to the healing of the mind, the body, the spirit, the emotions. And this is because we have Neptune conjunct the moon, and it's in Pisces, and Neptune is the master healer, right? This is the capacity to heal generational, cultural, collective, and individual wounding. this ability for deep compassion and love. And as we know, and forgiveness, these are the things that bring healing and restoration to us. Now, what's important is that there is a grand trine with a kite, with the moon and Neptune, Pluto and Uranus, and the sun in Virgo. This is an extremely electric and powerful energy that we have access to. It's within us, right? This is as above, so below. These energies are within us, and this is indicating to me this miraculous energy. Now, I don't know about you, but I have been drawn to the miraculous since I was very young, my whole life. I have not only believed it, I have seen it, I have lived it, and I'm just drawn to it. I see it in life. I've seen so many miracles. I've seen them big and small, and I've invited them into my life. And that's what this configuration asks us to do, is to open our hearts, open our minds, to experience miracles, to experience healing, to experience beyond what we think or have thought is possible. Miracles cannot be coerced, but it's not something you can't convince the universe or your soul into a miracle, right? They happen spontaneously, synchronistically, right? What we can do is we just be open to them. And even if you're not open to them, they can still happen. They happen all the time. They happen to people who don't believe. They happen to people who don't care. They happen to people who will deny them, and that's totally okay. But just opening up your heart to say, yeah, I want to see the miraculous in my day, in my life. Now, the sun at the 25 degrees of Virgo is very vital in this configuration of the healing, the mind, body, and the spirit, because while I would love the miraculous and I believe in it and I invite it in, we can also do things to invite this profound healing into our lives, right? We can take steps towards healing, put ourselves in situations where we're open to the universe meeting us there. We go to a healer, we go to a sound healing, we go to breath work, we go to yoga, and that's us saying yes to healing, right? In so many different ways, right? Even going to the doctor can be that way. You're saying yes, you want to heal. And so this is important during this time. Any little action that you can take with faith will have very enormous effects. Now, sometimes we can take actions, but not in faith. So in faith is, I know this matters. Faith is saying, I know this little thing, this little step that I'm going to take, it matters. So pay attention to the little things. This could be as simple as like, how do you wake up in the morning? How do you get out of bed? Do you feel like, you have to drag yourself out of bed? You don't want to wake up? Or will you wake up, open your eyes, lay your hand on your heart, and just like invite your spirit to guide you through the day? Just give yourself love in that moment, right? Will you take the time to make yourself a meal and allow it to nurture your body, right? So often we're just rushing through our day. We're not even paying attention to what we're eating. Sometimes people are barely even eating. Maybe it will eat at the end of the day, but it's like very mindless. But this energy says, do it mindfully. Like choose your food like it's going to nourish you, because it is, right? Because the sunlight that hit that vegetable, or that grew that cow, like all of that matters. And so the way we choose to make our meals matters. And that's a little thing that you can do in faith. Even just slowing down to look at your loved ones in the eye, or just look people in the eye, your work, people that you work with, right? Like, get out of that endless rushing, doing energy that can be very Virgo, and drop into the Virgo present, being, being earth, moving with the earth, moving and flowing, and being present. Like I said, looking at people in their eyes. This is a way of being faithful with yourself, to say, yeah, I'm worthy of slowing down. I'm worthy of looking at someone in their eyes. So, with Mars square the nodes of fate, this also like reminds us to really trust in like the bigger flow of life, that surrender our small will to trust the things that are coming to us, that to trust our intuition. Mars in Cancer is a strong intuition, very strong intuition. It can also be complete avoidance of knowing. That's the cognitive dissonance. Interestingly, Venus is in opposition to Chiron during this eclipse. And this is going to be, is going to signify that there's still wounding that we're looking at around relationships. This could be about a friend or a partner, feminine relationships. The energy I'm feeling around paying attention to this aspect is, who are you allowing to speak into your life? Who are you listening to? Who are you allowing to influence you? Right? Is it calling in more faith into your life? Are your friendships, are the people around you speaking of life and faith? Or are they invoking some kind of fear? Now, I mentioned this earlier, but I don't know one astrologer out there who is not invoking some kind of fear in what they're saying. And this is one reason I hardly listen to anyone in astrology, because they're constantly just invoking fear in the things that they say. And this just doesn't resonate for me. I don't feel the need to be afraid of things. Do I have fears that I'm working through? Yes. And that is precisely why I'm not going to be inviting that into my world, because I'm working on becoming more powerful than fear. So, what are you inviting into your world, into your mind? This configuration with the opposition with Chiron and Venus is reminding us that our friends are either going to help us heal, or they're going to feed us with doubt. They're going to be people who support self-healing, or they're going to be people who have doubts about that, right? So pay close attention to the people you invite into your world, into your space. And that includes podcasts, that includes anything you watch on Instagram or social media or YouTube. Be very careful. This can be an energy drain, right? With the South Node in Libra, I talked about this week on Instagram, how all that energy around the South Node with Lilith and Diana, and with Venus, that's a very energy vampire. That's very draining, energy suck. People wanting to siphon your energy. They're very aware of who's siphoning your energy. Sometimes people on YouTube are siphoning your energy because they want to get followers so that they can get money. And there's no judgment there. It's just being aware. Do you want to be a part of that? Do you want your energy to go to that? Or do you want your energy to come back to you? Do you want your energy to come back into your own body and to empower your own life? What's fascinating about this is that the Sabian symbol for 26 degrees of Pisces, which we always round up when we look at the Sabian symbols, is a new moon that divides its influences. And this is fascinating to me because of everything that I've just said. This is about, that division. Saturn and Neptune, both are in Pisces, both healing energies, both holistic, both very spiritually centered energies. But there's a division, right? What are you going to influence? It's a new moon that divides its influences. So being conscious of what you invite into your dream world, right? Is it illusions, or is it the deeper truth and dream of your soul. Now, you know, this is also bringing me back to that Saturn and Mercury aspect, because this is about being honest with ourselves. What is our truth? Are we going to look into the unconscious world, which is Pisces? Are we going to peer into our unconscious, which is the sun from Virgo looking over at Pisces energy? Are we going to peer into our unconscious and see what's in our shadow? Are we going to allow that to be seen so that it can be healed? Or are we going to continue to stay blind to that? And that could be, you know, part of the eclipse energy, wanting to stay blind, wanting to stay in cognitive dissonance, not wanting to see. Or will you allow that veil to be removed? You know, Pisces energy has to do with what's dissolving, but also the dreams that are being formed. And the way that we get to the truth of our real dream, the dream that is in us, that wants to be birthed, that wants to come out, is by seeing the shadow, by seeing the whole part of us, even the parts that we haven't wanted to see. With this aspect, we could also be looking at people letting go of addictions, seeing what is distracting you. You know, there's a feel of like things just melting away, possibly things you've been working through for a very long time. This could be the culmination of that. This could be the culmination of like, finally ready to let things dissolve. Another thing I want to mention about this full moon is that Pisces is our imagination. It's our ability to create in the unseen world. And so often we're not very good at this. A lot of people aren't even connected to their dreams, but Pisces is our dreams. It's our dreams at night, right? That we don't even know how we create them. And yet here we have this whole world, and everyone's dreaming, even if we don't remember them, but we have this whole world that we create in the unseen realm. Fascinating, right? But this eclipse invites us to use our imagination. Can you use your imagination with consciousness? Can you begin to allow yourself to imagine a life that feels truly aligned, like you are doing what is most authentic to you, that you're willing to let yourself be seen, you don't have anything to hide, right? That's Pisces. It's like, here I am, I'm fully seen. So there's so many powerful themes that are coming up with this eclipse. One or all of them may resonate for you. Just check in. This is definitely a time to be asking and opening your heart for miracles, asking your spirit, asking Great Spirit, what's ready to be seen? You know, what in my shadow wants to be known? This is also a great time to be asking, what am I ready to dissolve? What am I ready to say, let it go into the ocean, let it dissolve out in the sea? You know, this is just one last reminder to engage with your power under this eclipse. That is what we're offered to do. There's probably so much more I could say, but I think I'm going to leave it there for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me, and I look forward to being back soon with another podcast. Have a great day.